Welcome to another lesson. I'm Antonio Rico from Guitar for Me. Today we're going to look at 5 techniques in the style of Mark Knopfler. But before we get into the lesson, if you're new here, I suggest you subscribe to the channel and also click on the notification bell so you'll get a notification when I publish a new video. Alright, let's go and have a look. In some interviews, Mark Knopfler shares that in his younger days he couldn't afford an electric guitar, nevertheless an amp, so he was playing a lot on acoustic guitar. And he learned all the finger-picking techniques, and he became a big fan of Chet Atkins. That's where he learned his right-hand techniques. So he was playing this kind of music on his guitar. And the technique here is that the thumb is playing the alternated picking, and these 2 fingers, index and medium, they play the chords and the melodies. And this technique he managed to translate also on the electric guitar. So when we see him play, he doesn't use a pick. The pick is gone. He's just using the 3 fingers. Even when he plays the lead guitar. So he will play lead exactly like this, using the 3 fingers, mainly the thumb and the index, and then sometimes also the middle finger. And he gets a completely different sound than what he will get from a pick. Yes, you can go faster with a pick, definitely. But Mark Knopfler is not about speed, it's about melody and it's about taste. And the tone already on one single note from the pick and the fingers, the difference is quite staggering. So with the thumb, with the fingers, it's like this. With the pick, it's quite a big difference, and Mark prefers, obviously, his 3 fingers. This is another technique that Mark Knopfler uses. It's called quarter picking, and we're basically using again the fingers to strum the chords. And the idea is that we use the thumb for the lower strings to get a gentle sound, and then the full chords is normally given by the 1 or 2 fingers. It's a stronger attack compared to the sound of the thumb. And this is a technique that used quite often, and we see him, for instance, so he can get that kind of sound using the fingers. A rake is also a very important technique that Mark Knopfler uses, and again he's using the fingers. Now, what is a rake? It's that kind of sound where before we get to the note, we get that muted sound from the other strings. Alright, we can get this sound in different ways with this technique. We basically we can stop the strings from ringing, the lower strings with the palm of our hand, or with the left hand. So in this case I'm using combination of both. I'm using the second finger here to stop the lower 3 strings, while I want to play the 3rd string. So you will use this technique to get the rake, or another variation of it is where he basically plays the rake with the thumb and the note with the index. This way. This is a typical Mark Knopfler lick. Basically, I will call it lick cascade or cascade lick. Basically, we are playing a pattern, very simple pattern, And then we repeat the same pattern on the different strings until we go and resolve. So in this case, we are on F major pentatonic. Okay, and we start, and then we go on the second string, third string, we go back to the lower shape. So. And we resolve it. This is a wonderful way of creating longer phrases, where you take a small snippet, okay, you take the rhythm of it, and then you repeat it around until you go and resolve. That way it feels like you're telling us a story. And lastly, I want to show you the use of triads. Mark Knopfler knows how to use triads both harmonically, which means chords, and melodically, so when he improvises. And this is a wonderful technique we're gonna go and see now. All right, so what are triads? First of all, triads are the basic chords. Like C major is made of 3 sounds, C, E, G, and that sounds like that. There are different kind of way of playing these 3 notes sequence, and so on and so forth, all over the place of the fretboard. And that is fantastic sound that every musician should be able to play. And Mark Knopfler uses it to create riffs, like just like that. So by knowing where the shapes are all over the fretboard, that will help you also use this technique, which is it's got a different sound than the full chord. Okay, if we had to play the full chord, it would sound like that. Triads are a little bit lighter than that, but they're not as naked, let's say, as power chords. Power chords would be, you see, they are in between the full bar chords and the power chords. Now, the idea, obviously, when you're learning, is that you should be knowing them all over the place. That's exactly what I teach in my full courses, where you could play the same triads in different places on the fretboard. And so on and so forth. Then the other way that Mark Knopfler uses the triads is melodically, when he improvises. And that allows us to go deeper in our choices of notes. So we are not necessarily just playing the major scale and whatever happens, happens. No, we are targeting the 3 notes of the chord to create a riff or a lick, for instance. Okay, this is one of Mark Knopfler's more recognizable lick, and we are using triads. We're using the notes of the chord where it is playing, so that we're always using the right notes. This is a wonderful technique to target our notes, and every guitar player again should know how to do that. So the idea is that when we are on D minor chord, we're using the arpeggio of D minor, and that's exactly what Mark does in this lick. He will use D minor arpeggio, D, F, and A, and we got D, F, and A, 10, 11, 13, and 10th fret again. Okay, when we go to B flat, we basically need to move that 10th fret to the 11, like this, so that now we got B flat, D, F, and that's again the chord of B flat major. And then in order to play the C, which is the next chord of the turnaround, we basically need to move this shape one tone up. So from B flat to C, and that's is now 13, 12, 15. And that's how now you can create some very interesting licks, and you're always going to be 100% sure that you're using the right notes because you're using the notes of the chords. So that's a wonderful way to organize your licks and your improvisation using arpeggios. Alright guys, this is the lesson. I really hope that these 5 techniques are going to help you become a better musician. If it is so, please click like, leave a comment if you got any questions, and don't forget to check my masterclass. It's a free masterclass, 4 hours of guitar lessons, rhythm guitar, lead guitar. There's really a lot of stuff. There is the ebook of scales, of the scales and the chords most used on the guitar. So don't miss out. Follow the link that you find on the video or in the description. Cheers guys.